Hi there everyone, and welcome to day 18 of Ethony's 31 Days of Tarot. And today we are sharing how we pick our decks for our readings. And like most of you, I'm sure, mine is simply intuitive. I do tend to leave a deck or two on my reading table, not for any particular reason, they just end up there for a while. However, if I have a client coming and I just feel compelled to go to my writer's table where my decks are stored and just pick something off the shelf in that very moment, I do. It's quite simple. I did find that of the decks that I tended to leave on my reading table, Smith-Waite Centennial and often Morgan Greer, and I did find that clients really connected to those decks, especially Smith-Waite. And I think I have mentioned this before, that male clients especially did tend to connect and go on quite a journey with the Smith-Waite, to the point where they even commented and remembered that they drew a particular card the last time they were here. So I thought that was pretty funky. And then, of course, when the Wild Unknown arrived, I did not have any complaints from anyone. And I found especially, I have a few clients that are very outdoorsy and nature lovers, and they literally fell in love with the Wild Unknown. So my point being, I just felt compelled to introduce that to a number of people when that deck first arrived, and they absolutely love it, along with the Animal Spirit deck also. So I think that's about it. You know, it's an intuitive process, and I used to, at the end of the read, fill this basket with oracle decks, and I would invite the client to pick a deck from the basket in order to tie up any loose ends, or if they had an extra question that they wished to ask via the oracle, they could. And people really tended to like that idea, where they were given an opportunity to jump into their own intuition and pick a deck. I found that clients will steer towards picking an oracle deck, not so much a tarot. I think you should be able to use any deck for anything. So that's why, again, sometimes I'll feel compelled to use a particular deck and you think, I don't know why, but that's where I'm headed, and that's fine. Having said that, for relationship questions, sometimes I might go towards a deck that was more or less geared towards that subject matter, like love. So if you're doing a love, relationship, partnership spread, I may turn to Psychic Tarot for the Heart. It's a beautiful deck. I don't use it often, but if I do use it for partnership spreads, I think it's it works very well, and it's very clear, you know, and clean in its description. And then for an oracle deck, I use my little homemade minis, and clients seem to relate well to it because it's simply a word or three. So when we want further information, I'll still do a tarot deck, but we might be asking, you know, a question about how they actually feel about this person, how this person feels about them at this time, or what is going on with the relationship itself. What is this relationship built on? And I found that a lot of clients react very, very well to this deck. Even some of the trickier cards. I mean, look at that. Free yourself. This guy isn't marriage material. And sometimes I've found people, you know, they'll look at me and with those little puppy dog eyes, and you can see that there's been a moment of realization, and they think, you know what, I suspected that, you know, maybe I need to start reevaluating where I'm headed with this relationship, or whatever it happens to be. So I would say that's probably the only other avenue I take. You know, this is not intuitive. This may be a conscious decision on my part to use a deck such as Psychic Tarot for the Heart, simply because we are concentrating heavily on relationships at this time. Of course, it goes without saying that if I had a child to read for, I would use my Chip Richards Animal Voices deck that I actually bought for myself. I'm still laughing about that. Accidentally, I didn't realize it was for children, even though really clearly the artwork does state. So I left it at my inner child needed this. And I still love this deck so very much. And say if, like my two great nieces love the cards as it is, let alone clients or the children of clients. So this is a lovely deck here for children and or adults who are feeling very fragile, that, you feel, again, it's still intuitive, isn't it? You might feel, I'm not sure that the Morgan Greer will speak to this person on this day, or even the wild unknown, whatever it happens to be. But you just get this sense that I think this deck, or even I find with this deck, it's the colours. And people draw the deck when they're feeling very, very delicate about some issue in life, and they might be feeling very exhausted. They're feeling frail just in general. Maybe even their health is frail. And there is something very, very special and very powerful about this deck. And people tend to just, again, almost allow themselves to be enveloped by those colours. And of course, the animals are always very, very calming for them. So it's still an intuitive process. But again, in a way, it's also a conscious decision where you think, well, look, at this time, I think this is the best way or the safest way to go for a younger person, an elderly person perhaps, or, as I suggested, someone that's feeling very frail, whether it be emotionally or physically, but they work very well. Of course, there are a number of oracle decks that can serve the same purpose. So normally I will go over and hover around my writer's table and just see what my hand reaches out for. So that's it. That's my day 18. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.